Palestine is the land of the oppressed. This isn't just a statement, it's a painful reality that echoes through the streets of Gaza, the Alas and Nablus, and the camps of the West Bank. For decades, the people of this land have faced occupation, displacement, and unimaginable hardship. But in the heart of this oppression, something powerful exists, a spirit that refuses to be broken. The land itself has become a symbol not just of suffering but of strength that rises from injustice, of voices that refuse to be silenced, and of faith that remains unshaken despite every attempt to crush it. What makes Palestine unique isn't only the history of occupation or the visible destruction. What sets it apart is the way its people carry their pain with dignity, with purpose, and with a sense of hope that defies logic. When the bombs fall, the people rebuild. When the world turns away, they turn to prayer. And when their children are taken, they raise their eyes to the sky and whisper words of patience, not revenge. This is not submission. This is resistance in its purest form, the kind that doesn't always hold a weapon, but always holds on to honor. In a world that rushes to label and judge, the Palestinian people are often misrepresented. The oppressed are portrayed as the aggressors, and the cries for justice are drowned by the politics of power. But anyone who has seen Palestine up close knows that the truth is far deeper than what is shown in headlines. The people are not driven by hate, they are driven by love, love for their land, for their families, for their faith. They are not helpless victims, they are powerful examples of human endurance. Every corner of Palestine tells a story of survival. An elderly man who still holds the key to a home that was taken from him decades ago. A mother who teaches her children that education is a form of resistance. A young boy who plays football in the ruins of a demolished school. These are not the images that dominate international news, but they are the truth. They are the heartbeat of a nation that continues to live, despite every effort to erase it. And through it all, the land of Palestine remains sacred. Its olive trees still grow, its mosques still call the faithful, and its soil still remembers the footsteps of prophets. It is a land soaked in history and blessed with spiritual significance. But more than anything, it is a land that continues to stand because its people stand. Not with hatred, but with unshakable belief. Not with despair, but with deep-rooted hope. To call Palestine the land of the oppressed is not to reduce it to victimhood. It is to recognize the price its people pay every day for simply existing with dignity. It is to honor their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering faith in a better tomorrow. Because in every tear they shed, in every prayer they raise, in every stone they throw, they are telling the world that justice still matters, that truth still matters, and that no matter how long the night, the dawn will come. And when it does, the world will remember that Palestine was never weak, it was just waiting for the world to finally see its strength. The Palestinian people are a symbol of patience and resilience. In a world that often glorifies strength through wealth, power, or military might, the Palestinians show a different kind of strength, the kind that survives when everything else is taken away. Their patience is not passive, it is active, living, breathing resistance. It is the patience of a mother who waits for her son to return from prison, the patience of a father rebuilding his home for the third time, the patience of a child who walks to school through checkpoints and rubble, still holding on to dreams. This patience is not weakness, it is power restrained by faith. Resilience is deeply woven into the identity of the Palestinian people. It's in their eyes, in their voices, in their traditions. When homes are destroyed, they rebuild. When lives are lost, they mourn with dignity. When their stories are silenced, they continue to speak through art, poetry, prayer, and steadfast presence. Their resilience doesn't come from having a choice, it comes from having no other choice but to stand. It's a resilience passed down through generations, taught in lullabies and whispered at gravesides, shown in how they continue to live and love in a land that constantly challenges their right to do so. Despite the suffering they face, Palestinians have never allowed their circumstances to define their identity. They have built lives among ruins, carried hope among loss, and held on to joy even when surrounded by sorrow. They celebrate weddings during bombings. They laugh under occupation. They share what little they have with one another, because to them, community is survival and kindness is resistance. In their world, every act of normalcy is a form of defiance, a refusal to be broken, to be dehumanized. It takes incredible strength to hold on to patience when injustice feels endless. It takes courage to remain soft when the world treats you with cruelty. The Palestinian people do this every single day. They don't wait in silence, they wait in prayer. They don't sit in despair, they plant seeds for the future. Whether it's the farmers tending to olive trees planted by their ancestors, or the teachers educating students inside UN tents, they are all part of a legacy of resilience that refuses to fade. Palestinians are not just surviving, they are living with purpose, rooted in faith. Islam teaches patience as a virtue, and the people of Palestine embody that in every aspect of their lives. Their resilience is not born of pride alone, but of a belief that justice is near, that oppression will end, and that their perseverance will one day be rewarded not just by the world, but by God. They are fueled by the belief that the truth is on their side, and that truth always rises, no matter how long it takes. The world may see rubble and tears, but what lies beneath is a powerful spirit that cannot be shaken. It is a people who have turned their pain into power, their wounds into wisdom, and their silence into a statement. They have waited not for sympathy, but for justice. And while the world debates their future, they continue to write their own story with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every step. Because the Palestinian people have taught us that true strength isn't how loud you shout or how hard you hit. True strength is how long you can stand with your heart full and your soul unshaken. Even the child of Palestine is a symbol of honor. In most parts of the world, children are protected, shielded from pain, and given the freedom to simply be children. But in Palestine, childhood is different. It carries a weight. It walks alongside fear, loss, and sacrifice. Yet even with that burden, Palestinian children carry themselves with a sense of dignity that humbles even the strongest of adults. They are born into a struggle they did not choose, yet somehow they grow into it with pride, with courage, and with a strength that defies their years. These children are not just witnesses to injustice, they are survivors of it. And not just survivors, they are symbols. When a child walks past a tank with a school bag on his back and determination in his eyes, that is honor. When a young girl recites poetry about freedom while living in a refugee camp with no running water or electricity, that is honor. These children don't have to do anything extraordinary to be inspiring. Their very existence in a land that constantly challenges their right to live is an act of resistance. Their games are played in alleyways torn by war. Their lullabies are sung over the sound of drones. And their first words are sometimes learned in the language of survival. Yet in the midst of it all, there is something sacred about their spirit. They don't look for pity, they walk with pride. They speak of their homeland with a love that is unshaken, even when everything around them is falling apart. A child in Palestine knows pain, but he also knows purpose. He knows that even at a young age, he is part of something bigger than himself. These children are raised by stories of sacrifice, of legacy, of heroes who stood for truth. Their role models are not pop stars or celebrities, but martyrs, poets, and teachers who stood firm in the face of oppression. From a young age, they understand what it means to have their homes taken, their rights denied, and their lives constantly threatened. And yet they do not grow bitter. They grow bold. Their eyes hold questions, but their hearts carry answers. They are taught not to hate, but to hope, not to surrender, but to stand. The honor of a Palestinian child is not defined by medals or trophies, but by endurance. It is in their refusal to be broken. It is in their willingness to smile through sorrow, to offer kindness even when they've known cruelty. Every stone they throw, every prayer they whisper, every step they take toward school is a reminder to the world that honor is not about age, it's about soul. And these children carry souls that have walked through fire and come out shining. While the world debates politics and policies, these children live the consequences. But they do so with a resilience that turns them into symbols, reminders that justice cannot be silenced, and that even the smallest voices can carry the weight of a nation's hope. Their honor is not given to them by the world, it is earned every day, through every trial they face and every tear they shed in silence. Because in the heart of every Palestinian child lives a warrior's courage, a believer's heart, and a nation's pride, and no amount of oppression can take that away. Palestinians live with the call to prayer and become eternal through martyrdom. For many around the world, the morning begins with the sound of an alarm clock or the rush of daily life. But in Palestine, the morning begins with the call to prayer, echoing through the streets, over the rooftops, and into the hearts of Afghanistan, that faith is not just a ritual, it's a lifeline. The Adhan, the call to prayer, is a symbol of resilience, a constant reminder of the connection between the soul and the divine, even in the most difficult of times. In a land where every moment could be one of uncertainty, the sound of the muezzin calling the faithful to prayer offers both peace and purpose. It serves as a reminder that, despite all the suffering, there is still something greater than the struggle, a connection to God, to truth, and to justice. For Palestinians, prayer is not just a religious practice, it is an act of defiance. While the world may see their struggles as a political conflict or a territorial dispute, Palestinians see their resistance as a deeply spiritual act. To pray in a land that has been occupied for decades, to stand in submission before God while the world remains indifferent to their plight, is to claim a space that the oppressor cannot take. It is to declare that no matter how many times their homes are demolished, no matter how many checkpoints they must pass through, their faith remains unshaken, their commitment to justice undeterred. In every prayer, Palestinians declare their sovereignty not over land, but over their own spirit. They refuse to let their belief in God and justice be taken from them. The idea of martyrdom holds a sacred place in Palestinian culture. But martyrdom for Palestinians is not about seeking death. It is about living a life of purpose, standing firm in one's convictions, and making a stand for the values of justice, freedom, and dignity. It is the belief that some sacrifices are so great that they transcend the physical realm, becoming part of a larger, eternal struggle for what is right. The martyr is honored not because of the death they embrace, but because of the life they led, one that inspired others, that sought truth, that fought for justice. It is an eternal legacy, a flame that never dies, no matter how many years pass. Palestinian martyrdom is also deeply connected to the land and the people. Martyrs are seen as heroes, not just for their sacrifice, but for their love of their homeland and their commitment to seeing justice done. The land of Palestine is sacred not just because of its historical significance, but because it is the land where many have given their lives in the pursuit of freedom. Each martyr is a symbol of the collective struggle of a people who refuse to be forgotten, who refuse to be erased from the pages of history. Their names are passed down through generations, their stories are told in every corner of the land, and their spirit continues to live in the hearts of those who remain. The concept of martyrdom in Palestine is not limited to those who die in battle. It extends to those who continue to live, to resist, to endure despite the hardship. To survive in Palestine is itself a form of martyrdom. It is to rise every morning in the face of adversity, to smile through pain, to fight for the rights of your people, and to hold on to your dignity in the most trying of circumstances. This is a testament to the strength and resilience of the Palestinian people, whose faith and commitment to justice continue to inspire not just their own, but the world. Living with the call to prayer and the belief in martyrdom imbues every moment with a sense of purpose and destiny. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is light, there is a higher purpose. The struggle is not just for freedom or land, it is a spiritual journey, a quest for truth that transcends the earthly realm. Palestinians have lived this truth for generations, and they will continue to live it because their faith, their commitment to justice, and their love for their land will never fade. And in that eternal struggle for justice, they become more than just a people, they become a symbol for all of humanity. Every home in Palestine is a fortress, and every mother raises a warrior. In Palestine, the home is not just a place of rest, but a symbol of defiance. It is a sanctuary, a space where memories are built, traditions are passed down, and hopes for the future are nurtured. However, in the face of occupation, these homes are under constant threat. The very walls that protect the family from the harsh realities of the outside world also bear the burden of a relentless struggle for survival. Despite this, Palestinians have continued to fight not just for their land, but for the sanctity of their homes, because they understand that home is where the soul resides, where roots are planted, and where identity is formed. In Palestine, homes are not simply structures made of stone and cement. They are the heartbeats of families, the foundations of communities, and the embodiment of resilience. The family unit is the core of Palestinian society, and it is within these homes that the values of resistance, patience, and love are instilled. Parents teach their children that their home is their birthright, a place that cannot be taken from them. Each time a family rebuilds after their house has been demolished, they are not just rebuilding walls, they are asserting their right to exist, to live, and to resist the try to erase their history. Every brick laid down is a testament to their determination and their refusal to give in to the pressure of occupation. Palestinian mothers, in particular, are the unsung heroes of this struggle. They are the ones who raise their children to be strong, to stand tall, to never back down. They teach them that even in the face of adversity, their dignity is sacred. These mothers endure the hardship of seeing their children grow up in a world of violence and loss, yet they instill in them the belief that there is a future worth fighting for. They are the backbone of the resistance, not only because they bear children who will one day carry on the fight, but because they are the ones who nurture, protect, and guide their families through the darkest times. They are warriors in their own right, for they fight each day to keep their families safe, to hold on to their heritage, and to ensure that the flame of hope continues to burn, even when everything else seems to be crumbling around them. The strength of Palestinian women is often underestimated, but it is in the quiet moments of love, sacrifice, and perseverance that their true power is revealed. They may not be on the front lines of battles, but they are the ones who shape the hearts and minds of the future. They are the ones who keep the spirit of resistance alive, even in the face of tremendous hardship. The mothers of Palestine are ones who teach their children to hold their heads high, to never lose faith, and to remember that no matter how much is taken from them, their dignity and their humanity will always remain intact. In this way, every Palestinian home is a fortress, a sanctuary where the strength of the human spirit is protected. The home is where love is nurtured, where dreams are born, and where the fight for freedom is passed down from one generation to the next. It is a place that cannot be broken, even when the outside world tries to tear it apart. And it is in these homes that warriors are raised, not with weapons or violence, but with love, resilience, and the unwavering belief that justice will one day prevail. Every Palestinian child raised within these walls is not just taught to survive, they are taught to resist, to fight for their rights, and to honor the sacrifices made by those who came before them. The story of Palestine is not just the story of land and politics, it is the story of a people whose homes and families are their most sacred treasures, and who will defend them with everything they have. And it is in these homes, within these fortresses of love and strength, that the future of Palestine will be forged. For as long as there are homes to protect, mothers to nurture, and children to raise, the spirit of Palestine will never be defeated. Palestine is not just a land, it's an ideology. This truth runs deeper than geography, history, or politics. Palestine represents something far more powerful, a belief in justice, in dignity, in the right to live freely and honorably. It is a symbol of resistance against oppression and a testament to the unbreakable will of its people. For many, Palestine is not merely a place on a map, it is a concept, an ideal that transcends borders, spreading across generations and across the world. It is an ideology that refuses to be crushed no matter how long the struggle persists or how many challenges arise. It speaks of a vision of a people who will not be silenced, who will not surrender their land, their faith, or their identity. At its core, the ideology of Palestine is one of resistance. This resistance is not just political, but deeply spiritual and cultural. It's about the right to live with dignity, to raise families in peace, to walk in the streets without fear, and to worship freely. It's about a people who, despite years of occupation, have held onto their identity with pride and resilience. This spirit of resistance is embedded in every part of Palestinian life. It is seen in their schools, their homes, their olive groves, and their marketplaces. It is heard in their songs, their poems, and their prayers. Resistance is not only a fight against external forces, it is an affirmation of self-worth, a declaration that their lives have value and that their stories are worth telling. Palestine's ideology also speaks of unity. Despite years of division and hardship, the people of Palestine have never given up on the idea of solidarity. They understand that their strength lies in their collective will, in their shared history, and in their unbreakable connection to one another. Whether in the refugee camps in the cities or in the diaspora, Palestinians hold on to a common vision. They know that their struggle is not just for one individual, one family, or one community. It is for all Palestinians, for the future generations who will carry this fight forward. This sense of unity has kept the spirit of Palestine alive through the most difficult times, and it continues to fuel their aspirations for a better future. Palestine is also an ideology of faith. At the heart of this struggle is a deep, unshakable belief in God and in justice. The people of Palestine have long understood that their fight is not just against human oppressors, but against the forces of injustice and tyranny that threaten all of humanity. Their faith is their guiding light, providing them with strength in moments of despair and hope in moments of loss. It is a faith that keeps them grounded, that connects them to a higher purpose, and that reminds them that, ultimately, the path to justice will be made clear. This faith is not just a source of comfort, it is a source of action, inspiring them to continue their struggle and to never give up, no matter how many obstacles are placed in their way. The ideology of Palestine is also rooted in the belief that their land is sacred, not just because of its historical significance, but because it represents the heart of their identity. To Palestinians, the land is a part of them. It is their ancestors' heritage, their children's future, and their collective soul. The olive trees that have stood for generations are a symbol of the connection between the people and the land. Even when the land is taken from them, even when their homes are destroyed, their connection to it remains unbroken. Palestine is not just a territory, it is an idea that lives in the hearts of every Palestinian wherever they may be. It is a flame that cannot be extinguished because it is built on the belief that the land and the people who belong to it are worth fighting for. This ideology of Palestine is not defined by borders, it is defined by the hearts and minds of the people who carry it. It is a vision of justice, freedom, and dignity that transcends time and place. As long as there are Palestinians who hold this vision in their hearts, the idea of Palestine will never die. It will continue to inspire, to push for change, and to call for the world to see the truth. For in every struggle, in every act of resistance, and in every life that continues to stand strong, the ideology of Palestine lives on. And as long as the spirit of Palestine endures, the hope for justice and peace will never fade.